So let's go to the other kind of weather. So I have nouns, verbs, and adjectives and expressions. So start with the nouns. Here we have downpour, which is like sudden heavy rain. So like the rain just starts out of nowhere. It just starts raining and it's very heavy because a downpour. But when the rain is very light, it's like very light rain. We call it a drizzle. So we have downpour that's very heavy, and then there's drizzle that's very light rain. Then wind, we have a gust of wind, which is like when there's a very brief, strong wind that just comes and then maybe stays for a few seconds and then goes out again. Hail. So when there's sometimes here, I notice in Nova Swiss as well, when it's like in between winter and spring and rain falls, instead of like just water falling, it's ice. So we call that hail. That's when ice is falling when falling from storms during the rain. Then we have blizzards. So that's in the winter time when there's like heavy snow with like really strong winds that carry people or even like children, those really strong winds that come with like a lot of snow. They're called blizzards. Next, we have mist. So it's a fog that makes you not like in the morning. Maybe if you're staying on like maybe the fifth floor, sixth floor, and you look out your window, you see a fog outside and you can't see anything else. Or in the jungles in the early morning, like for me, when I go to the village back home in the early mornings, because we have a lot of like forests around my village, it's like very foggy and misty. You can't see anything in the morning, but we call that a mist, a thin fog. It reduces visibility. You can't see through the mist. Next, we have dew. So let's say in the morning as well. Usually, maybe it was really cold, but there was no snow. It's mostly in the tropics, and then you look at the window of maybe your car or the window of your house, and you see those tiny droplets of water in the mornings. So it happens in the night, like it's very cold at night, and then the next morning you see those tiny droplets of water on your window. They are called dews. So they are water droplets condensed overnight. So in the morning you wake up, you see those tiny droplets of water on the glass, on the leaves, everywhere. Then frosts, this is ice on surfaces, let's say on the floor, on cars. If you leave them outside in the winter for long, they form ice. On the ice forms on the surfaces, they're called frost. And then humidity is weather and like is used to measure weather, is moisture in the air. That's the amount of moisture in the air. You see it on your weather app as well. When you look, you see влажность as humidity, you see the ultraviolet, that's UV index, and then all those things. The wind, if it's going to rain, humidity is one of the things that you can see on the weather forecast map. So are any of these words new to you, or are there any old ones?
To be honest, I know I know last two worlds
Okay.
and and every worlds is are new.
Okay, so there are other ones are new. All right, no problem. Okay, so these are nouns. Now let's move to the verbs. Um, okay, let's look. This is my weather forecast in English. So here you have the wind, you have UV index, that's ultraviolet, sunsets, the wind map, it tells you the wind in the places, waxing, this is when the moon is going to set, precipitation, which means like if it's going to rain or not. It's called precipitation. So you have here zero, which means there's no rain today. Then here in the next we have the temperature, which is 24 degrees at the moment. Then humidity, which was the Vlasinos, 39%. And here you can see the root dew point. Sorry, dew point is 9 degrees now. So I was talking about the dew, which is formed from humidity. Visibility, I like I talked about the mist and fog. So there's no mist in the sky, there's no fog, so visibility is clear. Then you have pressure, which is definitely pressure here is kind of in the middle, and then average daily high, which means the temperature, the average temperature for the past few days. And at the moment it's 24 degrees, mostly sunny. And here, yeah. So that's it. For verbs, we have to pour, which is when rain is falling heavily for a long period of time. Like I said before, here you have downpour, which is the noun, and then to pour is like when it's raining really heavily. For example, you can use in a sentence to say something like, it's poured all afternoon. Like for example, I think yesterday or was it like 2 days ago, it wasn't pouring, but it rained. But we can't call that a pour because it wasn't heavy. So when it's heavy, you call it pouring, to pour. Then to shower is not shower like taking a bath. It's shower like raining heavily, but for a very short period of time. So pour is like for maybe from morning till let's say from 9 a.m. to like 12 p.m. That's a pour. And a shower is like maybe 2 minutes, maybe 10 minutes maximum, but like really heavy, but the kind of rain that falls, and then all of a sudden the sun is shining. So that's a shower. It just stays for you. I mean, well, showers don't take too long. So I guess that's why they call it a shower. It doesn't take too much time, but it's really heavy. Then I also already mentioned drizzle. So it can be used as a verb to rain lightly, like very tiny rain that is not so serious, like the rain yesterday. It was a drizzle. Then the next you have to batter. In my country, we say to beat, like the rain is beating you, like it's hitting you hard. That we call a batter. It's like when you're under the rain, you forget your umbrella. You say, the rain is battering me, or the rain is beating me. Yeah, so that's where we use the word batter. And then, or you say the storm battered down on the city. So the rain was really hard on, like the type of rain where it's falling and you're hearing the sound from like hitting the cars and things like that. Then to blankets, that's when like a fog covers a place to form a mist, like the word I already mentioned, a mist. So you use blanket for snow, fog, yeah, like snow covers the place you use. You can say blanket is a synonym for cover. That's bakrit. Then to blanket a city. For example, you can say snow blanketed the village. So there was a snow that maybe fell 5 meters of snow and blanketed or covered a village. The next is to settle. So when snow stays on the ground without melting. So we see that in the winter, the snow falls and maybe when it's like minus 10 and lower, the snow doesn't melt, it just stays there on the ground, and then they'll have to bring the tractors to remove the snow. So you call that settling snow. So the snow settles in Novosibirsk, for example. Then thaw. This word, a lot of people don't actually use it, but it's when ice is turning or snow is turning to water. You can say melting or you say thaw. So this is like either you say melting or thaw. They kind of mean the same thing. Or when you bring frozen fish, frozen meats out of your fridge and you leave it on your table so it melts, you call it thawing. So to thaw is to turn from ice or snow to water. To clear up is when, for example, now its sun is shining. Let's say maybe it's rained and then the sun started shining. So it does we saw that the weather has cleared up, which means it was raining and then it became sunny after rain or clouds. This weather has cleared up. That's an example. Then to loom is when threatening weather approaches, like you see the cloud is very dark and then you're not sure, but it looks like it wants to rain. So you can say it's like the dark clouds loomed in the sky. So you can see the clouds are dark, so it looks like it wants to rain. You can use the verb loom, that the dark clouds are looming in the sky. Okay, so any questions? Any new words?
No questions.
Okay. So now the last set of these are adjectives. Then first one we have is torrential. So we use it for rain. Torrential rain, which means extremely heavy rain. For example, you say torrential rain caused landslides, or the torrential rains cause floods, which is when, like, I think that's called potop or something like that, when there's a lot of rain and then the water has nowhere to go and it causes floods. So torrential rain, that's just in a sentence. Torrential rain causes floods. Then persistent, which means something is continuous and not stopping. So, for example, like a drizzle, when the rain is falling very lightly, it can drizzle for hours and not stop. It just continues, not without stopping, non-stop rain. So persistent rain. You can say persistent drizzle during the picnic, or the persistent drizzle made me not to go to work or to see my friend. Then the next one is howling. We use it for wind, like very strong, noisy wind that you can hear from inside your house, and the wind is like blowing or maybe hitting your window, and it's like making a sound like someone is blowing a whistle, like ooh, and things like that. It's called howling. So you can, for example, you can use in the sentence, howling winds delayed the flight. At the airport, maybe you're at the airport and there's a lot of wind outside, and then your flight is delayed. So howling winds delayed flights. The next one we have is brisk. So a pleasantly strong and cool wind. That's the kind of wind that is not trying to blow you away, but it's like nice and refreshing for the skin. So it's like called a brisk wind. It's nice. It doesn't feel like it's not strong. It's not a howling wind. It's a brisk wind. Then the next one, scorching. We use it for sun. For example, now today the sun is scorching, which is very hot sun. Like for example, in the text, Pops went to Egypt in the desert and it was very sunny. The sun in the Sahara in the desert is like scorching. It's the scorching sun. Then overcast. Overcast is when completely covered with clouds. Like I said, maybe it wants to rain and there are clouds in the sky and there's no sun. So you can say, for example, the sky stayed overcast all day, which means there was no sun. It was just cloudy, but maybe no rain, but no sun either. You say it's an overcast. Then the next one is hazy, which is when there is like a lot of wind, and then like for example in the summer there can be so much wind and dust that you can't see anything. It's called like hazy. It can be smoke, it can be dust, it can be gas, it can be anything. And then treacherous, you can use it with, well, treacherous is just something that is dangerous, icy, slippery. So like treacherous, maybe ice, or the roads were treacherous because there was a lot of ice on it and it was stopping the cars from driving. Then the last one we have fierce, which is very strong, also dangerous. But fierce it can be used mostly for like fire. It can be, well, like something. It means something that's very strong, like wind or a storm. A fierce storm destroyed the farm, for example. Destroyed the farm. Okay, so again, any new words, any questions?
No questions and new words. Torrential, for example.
Okay. Okay,
Um,
so
howling,
howling,
howling, and treacherous.
treacherous, treacherous. Okay. All right. So now you're going to try to make sentences with this words that I've already told you. So, for example, can you describe the weather yesterday with the words we've already learned? So, how was the weather yesterday?